welcome to another episode of Debugging Virtuality. This time we're going to go through my favorite topic, obviously, that's keyboards. So we are going to look into the keyboard tracks more detailed, and I'll explain what kind of different kind of keyboard layers there are in our Virtuality album. So let's first look at the amount of the tracks. There's quite a lot of keyboards here, as I mentioned in the first episode. You can see the track starts from the 16. I've hidden all the other tracks so they don't confuse us. So from 16 to 66. So there's 50 tracks of keyboards in the album, including all the MIDI tracks and the virtual instruments. And everything in the album is played by me, the keyboards, I mean. So there are no samples or anything like that used in the album, like we usually don't use any samples, and there's no exception in that here too. So only everything is played by these hands. So including the MIDI parts, I played them too. So I haven't like notated them before and then just used that, but I played everything from the scratch. So in the album there's three major components or keyboard sounds that are used consistently in the album, and the first part, or the first sound that is used a lot, and I kind of mean the lead, so-called keyboard leads here, those that will play any riffs. So obviously the first part, or the first major featureless component, is the piano sound. So that's from the Kurzwel PC3K7. I will show it later. And then there's the actual lead sound, which is composed from two different parts. I will go deeper to that later on, but it sounds like this. And that part is the kind of the most important sound in the album, so that kind of makes the album sound different from our previous albums, and hopefully different from every other band's. And then of course there's the strings, or I use the term mighty strings. So that's like in our every album kind of in a bit different kind of setup, and that contains usually from 5 to let's say 10 different keyboard sounds, kind of orchestrator sounds. So yeah, those are the major components in the album when it comes to the keyboards. So piano, the synth lead sound, and the orchestra strings, 3. Of course there's a lot of other things like chorus and the church organ and the horns too. Let's see them out. Horns, I haven't used a lot of horns like previously, but to our final track those suited quite well. Yeah, and in the track 6 there's church organ, also one of the keyboard sounds that I rarely use. And there's yeah, there's actually also chorus in this song. The church organs are such a dramatic sound that it kind of rarely sits to any song. Yeah, there's also chorus sounds. Let's see if there's any part where there's only the chorus sound. Yeah. And there's also a Hammond sound. Let me find that out for you. There. But just only in one song, Inventions. This one also consists of two different sounds. One from the Kurzwel and then a virtual instrument. I think it's a Hammond B3 emulation, but I will show that too later. And then there's also one component that is a bit weird. It's called nerdy sounds. So in an instrumental song, there's actually real keyboard sounds in the background, which I recorded myself too. So something like that. And that was recorded in the vocal booth that you hopefully see in the video earlier. And it's recorded with my laptop. So I just took the laptop in my hand and there's also of course there's the solo sounds. I will get to them later too, but there's harmonic sounds also. And then there's kind of more, how do you say, more bit like analog sound that kind of resembles the start from the Gates of Babylon by Rainbow. So those kind of sounds there's in the keyboards in this album. In overall view. So then let's go to see the those three different layers like more in depth. I don't. There's not a lot to talk about the piano. I will show the hardware later. But let's check out the leads, because they are the most interesting part and the kind of most unique when it comes to when compared to another previous album. So they're kind of something that we haven't done before. So you can see there's recorded. Both are recorded, but there's this normal sound, and then there's MIDI sound also, and it combines nicely into a really good sound. This sound is from the Yamaha Motif-rack XS, and then when I combine it to this sound, this is from a SID emulator. It kind of tries to mimic the sound of Commodore C64, and especially kind of those legendary theme songs from like Hurricane and the Great Guiana Sisters. So I've kind of tried to capture that sound into this album, and in combined it sounds like this. So the SID sound doesn't like it's not like overwhelming in the sound, but it kind of gives the right tune and kind of right feeling for that lead sound. And there's a lot of different leads in the album, and I kind of really used it quite a lot. So that's kind of, how do you say, ohjenuora, the kind of theme that goes on through the album, and it's kind of in most of the songs there's that sound is used. So number 10 and 12. I think track 1 doesn't have the leads at all. No, fooled you. And track 2, obviously it contains a lot of that leads. 3, that also has it. And 4 has it. 5, 6, I think 6 also, yeah, that has it too. 7. And track 8 doesn't have it. And I think 9 doesn't have it neither. The digital tower, that's a harder one too. So from the 12 songs, two of the songs doesn't have that same lead sound. So that kind of binds the songs to all the songs together and kind of makes the album sound like one big song. So that's the lead sounds. And then if we're going to see the orchestrator sounds, how do I have combined them? I kind of always have a saying that I'm not that kind of very, how do you say, very clinical, kind of that accurate player when it comes to like timing and stuff, but being that kind of crappy enough but good enough makes the orchestration sound really big, because obviously when orchestration is played, like not every player plays it like right in the time, so me neither. So it sounds like really big with like 10 different layers. So yeah, so let's count. This is combined from, how do you say, pre-rendered from MIDI strings that I played from session strings with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 tracks, and actually this one is Roland Fantom X7, and this is actually, this sound is, I think there's 3 or 4 different sounds in this one. And there's like I played the upper part and the lower part different. Yeah, I play 1 octave and then second, and then harmony for the upper octave. So that's our Symphonic keyboards in this album. They're usually, I think, previous album also had the same, almost the same orchestration sounds than this one. I think I have some couple of new sounds in this album, but basically I've been keeping the same sounds in this one. And also I used the SID emulation also for our instrumental song. I think it's here. This one is kind of, it's not very loud in the album, but it kind of gives all a nice tune to it. So let's also check out what virtual instruments I have. Eastwest, Choice and the Symphonic things. This one is the Symphonic part. I think there was no, yeah. This one plays only the one. Oh, that's kind of old plugin, but that's really nice. And then there's Contact, which contains the, it's a Session Strings Pro that I use those kind of ticky sounds. Let me find it for you. Yeah, that was actually the, that is pre-rendered because that plugin is quite a power CPU consumer, so basically this one. Okay, so it's and then if we move forward, there's this kind of the one that makes the makes it sound unique. So this is used in a lot of songs. So that's like really nice. And there's more symphonic stuff. I think this is Choice. No, no, this is the horns. And there's something here too. Oh, there's yeah, more mighty strings and more C64 emulation. This is the one you heard in the track 3, the instrumental song, and well, click obviously. Oh yeah, and there's and for the like very first time in history of Ultimation, there's actual ballad. That's sung by Emily Leon, with guys helping. And it was actually almost one of the most difficult parts to play in this album, because playing a slow song, it's very important to like make the timing correct, because the mistakes are so easily heard, especially when there's no other instruments in the background like giving some help. So that's almost like the most difficult part of this album, although there's a lot of difficult parts. So yeah, that's the keyboards in this album in depth, and I will next show you the hardware that we've been using for this couple of albums. Yeah, so Yamaha DX7. This is a new one. I bought it from my co-worker. So, but I use it as a controller because it has a really nice touch, and I can play really fast with this. So all the solos are played with this. Really nice. And there's the Roland Phantom, I think the X7. I placed most of the leads with that, so it controls actually this one. And most of the mighty keyboards, those big keyboards, have been recorded with this. And this is the basic string sound that I use in the background of like almost all the songs. And then there's the Kurzwel PC3K7, and I played all the piano sound with this. I'm playing with one hand, so I can't play with a lot of things from the album. So that was from the the fourth song. And yeah, this is my equipment now. That's pretty much it. The keyboards of this album. Hope you enjoy the keyboards. I put a lot of effort into those, and took a really long time to make all the keyboards and record especially the leads, because there's a lot of those leads and they're quite progressive on some parts, and so we're really difficult to play. So enjoy. And that's all, folks. And that's all for today. Please subscribe to our channel.
Opponent here, 4 points. Your team, 6 points. Congratulations. Exit to the main menu, or would you like to play another round?